Population update. 5 males, 5 billion females. I don't know, it's that show about the dude who's in a coma for years and then he wakes up when there's only like 5 males left. And all the women are trying to get the males to repopulate humanity because the virus killed all the males. World's End Harem. So I watched like the first episode because, you know, I had to, for research, obviously, for the sake of at least showing it to other YouTubers and to torture them. I don't know what actually happens. This covers the entire plot, and I cannot believe there is so much plot to cover. You asked me to watch this. This was actually a comment that I found on my interspecies reviewers recap video thing, so let's jump right into it.
Reito is guided through a technological...
Yo, wouldn't it be sick if Reito was gay? That would make such a better movie. It's like, man gets into a coma, virus comes, murders all the other males, man wakes up, life full of women, but he's gay.
Advanced room by a woman. The confused boy follows her around to an isolated room with a double-sided window. The girl then reveals the other side window full of unclothed, desperate women, all willing to mate with Reito.
Proof? Show us.
He was in Harem paradise. Welcome to the future. It is 2040 AD, and the world is technologically advanced beyond anything. Only people who want to work go to work, otherwise they can just relax. AI has taken
so in other words, that would be the absolute destruction of society. Cool.
Over the world in terms of employment. Reito is an ordinary boy who is pursuing a medical degree hoping to become a doctor. However, he himself is plagued by a disease that doesn't have a cure yet, but he can still survive using the technology of cold sleep, or, as they call it, hibernation. For as long as the cure for the disease isn't created, Reito would be sleeping.
Yeah, this is a show about a guy trying to become a doctor, trying to survive in an apocalyptic world. God, dude, that underboob. Like, goddamn. On
his final day, Reito decides to confess his feelings to his longtime crush, Arisa. He does seem to have some serious commitment issues and waited till the very last day. Arisa can't give her answer. How could she? It was so sudden, but Reito doesn't mind. He can't ask her to wait for him for
he's a simp.
5 years anyway. Reito then heads to the doctor's office where he would be put to sleep, alongside his big brother Ryu and little sister Mahiru, the only 2 living relatives that he has. As he is being readied for the procedure, Arisa arrives there as well, so she does like him back after all.
Isn't this cute and wholesome? Nothing could possibly go wrong.
That's a relief for a man going into Captain America mode for the next 5 years. He gives her his locket as safekeeping and, once again, heads to his future. The procedure then begins. Reito is placed into a container, and the liquid pours into it. The voices of his close ones start muffling, and just as he passes out, he can faintly hear Arisa telling him that she would wait for him to wake up.
This is so wholesome.
Reito then opens his eyes after 5 years, and he is strangely surrounded by all female nurses.
Wait, what? Why is that strange? Women can't be nurses? I don't know, anime explained. That's pretty sexist.
Who all seem weirdly shy and aroused by him.
How do you know they seem aroused by him? What does that even mean?
Next to him is a purple-haired lady who tells him that it's 2045. Reito has slept for his destined 5 years. His attendant, Mira, the purple-haired girl, then takes him to a doctor who is on standby to check his vitals. Reito asks the doctor if—
Oh my god, that angle! How does that even happen? What kind of apparatus is she wearing on her chest to have this? Are her boobs made of helium?
Asks the doctor if he can see his own personal doctor instead, but the woman tells her that his doctor is no longer alive. Everything seems to be weird, and Reito is getting more and more confused. Reito is then put in a lemo where Mira explains to him about the MK virus, a virus so much deadlier than Corona that it killed every single victim in just 3 days of infection. Even today, there was no cure. Half of the world population was gone. Mira opens one of the window shades and shows him how the once technologically advanced society had crumbled back into a mess.
Wait, so what you're telling me is you have a completely advanced society, all right? Listen. I'm not saying anything myself here. I'm just trying to comprehend. I think chat already knows. Why is chat spamming women? I don't know what you're talking about. Bro, remember all that incredibly advanced technology we had? We lost it in a span of 5 years when men disappeared. Dude, that's too funny. Well, that's so funny!
Reito thinks it's all some kind of a sick joke, a prank, and he rushes outside, jumping from the car to see for himself. What he sees shocks him. There is not a single man out there.
Why are they wearing rags?
There was not a single man out there. Everyone was a woman, and the world was nothing like it was before. Society had fallen into chaos. Mira and her guards jump to surround Reito and protect him from the horde of women around.
They start tasing women. They see a man and they just start tasing women. Oh my god, dude.
One crazy woman sees Rito and jumps towards him. Thankfully, she is dealt with on the spot. Mira explains that 4 years ago, the MK virus, or male killer virus, emerged and wiped out the male population, except for him and 4 other immune men who were similarly frozen. And they are obligated to have children to save humanity from extinction.
Dude, this is the greatest hentai plot ever. I feel like we had the same exact hentai plot over the course of like billions of hentai.
The story seemed like it was taken from a sci-fi novel, but it was true. Rito was in a harem whether he liked it or not. Rito, however, is adamant that he doesn't want to sleep around with hundreds of women just so that he can have children with them.
Which is like, what? Dude, you are the biggest beta fucking cuck on the goddamn planet. Come on, man, this is humanity at stake.
At heart, he is still loyal to Arisa. So in order to convince, Mira calls in his sister, Mahiru. Mahiru, who is now a teenager.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. There's an incest plotline in this too. They couldn't make it weird and degenerate enough with all these women pining after him, but you also had to goddamn have a freaking... You had to add an incest plotline!
Teenager arrives and explains that their brother Ryu contracted the virus and had to be frozen to save his life. She also explains that Elisa, who is actively involved in
Dude, is she wearing a bra? I have to know.
Finding a cure for the MK virus, also had been missing for the last 3 years. Rito is distraught, and he even gives Arisa a call. Yeah, right, if it was that simple. Arisa was truly lost. That night, Rito realizes just how serious the women were when Mira arrives in his room and starts stripping before him, asking him for his seed.
Who put this lady in charge? Who put her in charge?
Rito stops her midway and sends her away, but things are going to get more and more serious from here on out. Rito comes up with a...
Dude, this is one of those I can't believe it's not hentai. If this plotline follows the entire show, that they're just women throwing themselves at him, but he's like, no, I mustn't!
Plan. The next day, when
she's not even his girlfriend! She's just some random girl from 5 years ago!
Mira takes him to see the catalog of women that he could choose and impregnate, Rito asks for
the women catalog, bro.
1 month's time for him to find Arisa. He tells her that if there was anyone he would end up hooking up with, it would be Arisa and no one else. Mira agrees, but says until
history's most selfish idiot
Elisa is located, she will send a different girl to his room every night, so that they can seduce him into impregnating them. It doesn't
This sounds so bad. The Andrew Tate dream hentai? Bro, Andrew Tate would love this.
matter if he doesn't end up doing it, but she would keep sending the girls regardless. Elsewhere in the same facility is another man. They call him Number 1, but his name is Kyoji Hino. He is one of the other immune men to the MK virus and was the first one to be awakened from the cold sleep. Unlike Rito, Kyoji is enjoying his life in this new world.
Goddamn, this man, finally, a self-insert antagonist. For far too long, we have had a self-insert protagonist. A protagonist that we wish we could make believe is us. Finally, the self-insert antagonist we always wanted.
He is taking full advantage of his manhood and sleeping around with 10 women a day, or even more, who knows?
Who knows?
Even has the choice to sleep with literal actresses.
Why can't we have this story told through Kyoji's perspective? Bro, if we would have had World's End Harem made as a 2-part series, right? Part 1, following freaking the main guy, Reito, and his life, and that'll be like, you know, on Crunchyroll. And then, bro, you have Kyoji's perspective on xvideos.com.
This guy is living his dream. Reito, on the other hand, finishes his meal and heads back to his room, and that's when he meets with Kyoji. Reito is really uncomfortable with how frank and calm Kyoji is with everything happening, while Kyoji can't believe how stupid Reito is for not taking the opportunity he has in hand. The two men part uncomfortably, and Reito finally reaches his room and decides to take a shower to cool down and process everything.
Enter the women!
Unfortunately for
Unleash
him, the woman that Mira had promised she would send, Akane, arrives unclothed in the shower alongside Reito.
This is not a hentai. Just reminding you guys.
And tries to seduce him as Mira promised. She does a pretty good job, but Reito
Look at this man! Look at this dude!
ends up failing because of all of the pressure. When he
I just can't get the little man standing.
He wakes up, Akane is there by the sofa drunk, and on his bed is another small woman.
Oh god.
She looks really young.
No, please don't.
Her name is Sui.
Oh no, oh no, oh no! I thought the incest plotline was gonna be the bad one. Oh my god, she looks like she's 6 years old.
Sui and Akane were going to be with him for the rest of the days. That night, he reluctantly sleeps platonically with Akane and Sui.
Is there a man alive that relates to this guy? I guess they just needed the show to keep going, but like there is no one that could possibly relate.
Yamada, as Mira changed her mind and assigned them to him instead of sending random girls every night. One of them was his bodyguard and the other was his nurse. We will see who is who. The next day, Rito, Mira, Akane, and Sui examine Elisa's old laboratory for clues as to where she might have disappeared. Rito manages to get her stuff to be taken to his room where he can examine them. As the group is wandering around the lab, a strange woman in the shadows manages to release a literal bear into the premises. The bear approaches the group to attack, and Rito quickly jumps to save Sui as the bear walks toward her. Turns out the little girl was actually his bodyguard, and she literally ends the bear's life with just one kick to its head.
Oh my god, dude. Dude, this is the type of girl EDP should be going after. Someone that'll literally murder him when he tries to do anything wacky.
Well, that's a surprise. Ronaldo would be proud. When Reito learns Elisa was working on a cure for the MK virus before she mysteriously disappeared, Reito decides to finish her work and appears on the news to relay his goal. Bold move, because since he is a rare commodity at this point, being a man, he would be in a lot of trouble because of this. Late that day, Reito finds a recorded message inside Elisa's old teddy bear.
Oh my
How
God.
convenient, where she reveals the MK virus is actually a man-made biological weapon. Despite knowing this mega secret, Reito decides to keep it to himself. He
Why?
doesn't really know who he can trust. He, however, does confide to Mira
What are they gonna do? They're gonna kill one of the only 5 males in the world?
that she resembles Elisa and apologizes for not producing babies, but she says working on a cure is indeed the better solution. Meanwhile, a council of women is having a meeting. They look really suspicious and seem to be the ones who have made this whole situation in the world.
Poot women.
The council views Rito as a threat to their power and decides that it's time for another man to be revived. We are then taken back once again to 2040, the age where life was somewhat normal. Shota Doi is an introverted
His name is Shota. Oh my god, how on the nose are they?
high schooler who pretty much gets bullied by everyone at his school because he has somewhat different tastes in music and life itself. The bullying the guy faces is relentless. Pretty much everywhere he goes, he gets tormented by his bullies. Especially Takamatsu and his girlfriend Arisa, who just takes so much joy in torturing poor Shota. His only allies are his
Poor
sister
Shota.
Mayu and his music teacher Yuzuki Hanyu,
God, she has like goddamn cannonballs.
the only two people he holds dear in his life. However, just like Reito, Shota also gets the disease sometime in 2040, and he too ends up in the same cold sleep. 5 years later, Shota awakens to this new world
They left him with his glasses in there.
with no men and is attended by a lady named Karen.
Shota and Karen, this is the worst thing ever.
Karen tells him about the MK virus and its
Great character design though.
effects on the world, to which Shota reacts surprisingly well. However,
Wait a second, all these people that used to harass me are dead? Oh man, that's so rough, buddy. Oh, I'm so sad.
Karen tells him that despite everything, he is okay to resume his schooling in his old school.
What? Shouldn't you have other priorities?
Shota is taken aback at first, but then remembers that the probably killed his bullies already and decides to go to school. Shoto, despite the time spent away in cold sleep, hasn't changed a bit and is still the introvert that he was before. Minus the bullying and literally every other boy, life is pretty much the same for him.
How? I'm sorry, this show makes no sense.
One thing that makes life a bit better is that his teacher Yuzuki is still alive and she seems a bit too happy for him.
Well, to be honest, we all knew she'd be there. No character that only appears in a flashback has boobs that big. That's just one of anime's cardinal rules.
So much happy that night, she
Oh no, he's a child! He's a child.
comes to his room and offers herself to him. Shoto doesn't even flinch, and the two end up sleeping together. For the next few days, Shoto continues at school, trying to get along with the other girls, but his heart is set on his teacher.
I get that he's a kid. I get that there are only 5 males alive in the world and this needs to be done. Why does it need to be his teacher? Desperate times, moral and ethics be damned. But you can follow basic morals and ethics in this desperate time. He has all these girls in his class that are his age.
That day, when Shoto visits the nurse's office, he yet again meets with Yuzuki, and yeah, they end up doing it in school. Elsewhere, Karen reports to her superiors about the situation and how number
Can you believe this guy's making this video? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about the actual plot.
3, aka Shota, was doing a decent job. The superiors ask her why they had to open up the school, and Karen reveals that everyone in the school came there before Reito's press conference, so they still think that Shoto is the only male alive, giving him more opportunities. Weirdly so, this was all a race between the women to see whose man got the most girls pregnant.
What the fuck does that even mean? Is this just porn Squid Game?
A few days have now passed, and Shota has settled down pretty well into this whole new world. He has been sleeping with Yuzuki pretty much every day.
What does it show there that he needs to censor? This isn't actually hentai.
However, life with infinite possibilities, when constricted to just one, gets a bit boring.
Oh my god, he goes through his Joker arc.
1 week later, Karen drags Shota to the swimming class. He is reluctant at first because he has always been a nerd, but he has no bullying to worry about now, so he eventually agrees. That night, on little notice,
Well-known true fact about the world. Women do not bully. They just don't.
Natsu Ichijo, one of his classmates belonging to a really rich family, is assigned to be
What does that even mean, a really rich family? We saw the state of society.
his temporary roommate. Karen tells him because of a faulty AC, but we all know this is just another ploy to seduce Shota. Natsu seems a bit too rich. She doesn't even know how to change her own clothes and asks Shota
Dude, this play just gets wilder and wilder. Like, oh my god, dude.
to help her out.
Modern feminism has gone too far.
The poor guy only has feelings for his teacher, but still
yes,
ends up
the
helping
poor
the
guy.
girl. All day after that, though, he is troubled by super horny thoughts. He hadn't been seeing Yuzuki for a few days because she was on her period, and this new girl was throwing herself at him every day.
Oh my god.
Shota's troubles keep growing, so he calls the teacher to ask her if she felt bad that other girls were coming for him too. Yuzuka tells him not to worry, as he belonged to everyone, and she didn't feel bad about it.
Yeah! Communism. Our cock.
This was all Shota wanted to hear. That night, Natsu comes into Shota's bed, explaining how she
Isn't that just child prostitution? No, that's child prostitution with extra steps, okay?
couldn't sleep alone, and confesses that her father gave her an arranged marriage to a much older man until they were both killed by the MK virus. One thing leads to another, and well, the two end up sleeping together. When Yuzuki
Who could have seen this coming? Get it?
finally returns, Shota confesses that he slept with Ichijo and begs for forgiveness. But she says they all know, and he
Oh my god, she actually cared about him. This 40-year-old lady actually, like, was emotionally attached to this 12-year-old child. This is so wrong, bro. This is messed up on every level.
belongs to everyone. This feels oddly strange to Shota. In fact, everything does feel that way. Almost everyone is always trying to please him, and nothing bad ever happens to him. Something was definitely wrong. He confronts Karen and demands answers. Was this whole thing just a big experiment? Was he just a lab rat? Karen is amused that Shota was smart enough to figure it out in just a few days. She takes him before the class
I wish I was experimented on in this fashion, you know what I'm saying? If only I could get experimented on like this.
and says she reopened his old school to make him comfortable so he would mate and repopulate the planet.
You can't spell comfortable without cum.
Just to prove the fact that all the girls there were for him, she asks every one of them to strip.
Dude, this anime, bro!
Just do it. Elsewhere, the Shady Council of Women from Japan decides that since number 2, aka Shota, isn't mating with anyone, Mira wasn't doing her job well, and they decide
Wait, number 2's Reito. Pay attention!
to remove her from the position of his attendant. With less than a month remaining for Rito to make the cure before he must mate, the situation inside the place is getting more and more intense by the minute. He is busy with the research, but hasn't made any progress at all when it comes to cracking the virus.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Society is crumbling because men died 5 years ago and all the technological advancements somehow disappeared. Now, for the last 5 years, all of the greatest women minds are trying their hardest to crack a cure for this virus. This dude, within a month of waking up, randomly, not like he's some great, he's not even a doctor. He was trying to become a doctor. This one random guy has a month, but he has a penis, and therefore he's gonna be able to crack the balls, crack the freaking code, and save the world. What does this say about women? This whole show is about like, all right, so everyone died except for 5 men. Also, women suck. That's the show's moral here.
Frustrated, he heads outside of the office and
The anti-Barbie.
bumps into Maria Kuroda,
Oh.
who is running around with nothing but her lab coat on. The two of them fall on each other in a really
They fall on each other. Oops.
awkward manner, which is seen by Ria Katagiri, Rito's new attendant. Katagiri, unlike every other woman in the anime, seems really hostile towards Rito. She looks like she just hates men. In order to research
She looks like she hates men. They make women out to be these monsters in this show. I cannot believe that.
further into the virus, Rito and the group decide to go to Keimon City, the first place in Japan where the virus emerged. There, he has planned to interview an old woman named Taniguchi, the widow of the virus's first victim.
Yo, you know what this dude should really do? He should sleep with the old lady, and they would just be so confused.
On the train ride to the city, Rito realizes that Maria, who's pretty shy when it comes to talking to him, is actually really confident when it comes to discussing viruses. She was a virologist,
What?
and Rito finds her to be pretty trustworthy, just like Akane, Sui, and Mira. Katagiri, however, was not so easy to trust.
This man's growing a harem of people that he can trust.
At first, Taniguchi is not very open and doesn't seem to want to reveal much. She definitely knows something, but isn't really sure if she could trust the other people in the room. She doesn't cooperate at all and just ends up berating him. When they leave, it is revealed that Taniguchi is in contact with Arisa and wonders why Arisa will not reveal herself. Oddly so, she finds
That is
Rito
so
and
weird.
Arisa similar to each other. Back in their hotel, Rito is taking a bath and is forced to hide in a
This is not a bath, friend, but okay.
sauna when other women appear. Apparently, the concept of a male sauna had already disappeared.
You don't say! That wouldn't exactly do great for business, would it?
In the sauna, though, he meets up with an American named Chloe who claims to be a transfer student.
Dude, I love how every American anime is just this transfer student with blonde hair and massive boobs.
The girl seduces Rito and tricks him into kissing her just as the others walk in, angering them.
Why would this anger them? That's exactly what they've been trying to do for the last freaking half the show.
Later, Mira talks with Taniguchi about how honorable Rito is. She tells her how Rito is selfish and doesn't mate just because he is true to his love and wants to save the other men in the world. This convinces Taniguchi to share what she knows. However, someone sneaks in and poisons her IV tube, leaving her in critical condition. Before losing consciousness,
God.
however, Taniguchi asks that a photo of her and her husband be given to Rito. After getting nothing of value from Taniguchi, the group decide to visit the abandoned hospital
Why is the lolly
in the
doing
area
that?
where the very first patients of MK virus were treated. However,
You know, this is really not how science works. It's not like, yes, the virus started from there. We must research the lab, the sewers.
there's nothing of importance in the hospital, and it clear shouts someone has removed evidence here. On the other hand, Kyoji is having a similar issue like Shota from the last episode. He has had all the women thrown at him and has enjoyed them as much as he can, but doing the same thing every day has made him bored. So,
Oh my god.
he heads out with his attendant to pick up one of the girls from the street at random. And the one that he picks at random is Mahiru. What are the odds of that?
Oh my god, bro! This show is just so stupid.
Without much progress, Rito's group decides to return back. On the day of their return, Rito notices that his scanner was reacting to the photo given by Taniguchi and scans the photo to find incomplete blueprints of the MK virus's design.
They tried to assassinate a lady on life support, and they botched it up and they just put her in a coma. Bro, that's what happens when you hire a woman to assassinate someone. What am I saying? What am I saying? Have you ever seen, in every TV show ever, any TV show literally ever, have you ever seen a female assassin kill a woman? We've seen female assassins kill men all the time. All right, that happens everywhere. But have you ever seen a female assassin kill another woman? If you could name one, I will be surprised. And the reason is because we all just kind of want to be that guy that's getting our head crushed between the thighs of some... All right, anyway.
Someone had definitely made the virus, and though incomplete, using this blueprint, Rito could try to reverse engineer the virus. As soon as the group return, Kyoji's attendant, Neneko, informs Rito and Mahiru about Kyoji's request. The siblings are highly against the idea, and Rito goes to meet with Kyoji
What's the idea?
and let him know that his intentions would not bear fruit. Rito protests that his sister is only 16, but Kyoji
Oh my god, this dude's insane! He has every woman in the world throwing themselves at him, and he is on his knees begging to sleep with a child.
begs, telling Rito he is in love with Mahiru. Unable to
He's in
convince
love with her because he saw her on the street.
them otherwise, Rito agrees to arrange a lunch date with Rito attending.
What? There's There's everything wrong with this. It's like, bro, you cannot sleep with my sister. She's a child. Fine, you could go on a date with her and see where it goes. Huh?
This, as expected, doesn't really go well. Mahito has no interest in Kyoji.
What does that mean, no interest? There's no so every woman in the entire world is just salivating just by the thought of a male, except for this dude's sister, because somehow plot.
Later that day, when Rito is having his bath, Akane and Maria enter the bath with him, realizing that he has been acting weird lately. They tell him that they are on his side and also reveal the fact that many virologists were getting lost or had been assassinated in the last few years.
Oh my god, they're trying to keep the males dead and ruin society in the press.
It was almost as if the government was taking them out to stop looking for a cure for the virus. The two girls had entered the bath so that no one would record them while talking. Nice move, but very demonetizable. The next day, Rito, Marie, Kane, along with Sui, managed to establish a base in the refugee area of the city. Marie even manages to create a network of computers off-grid from the government's inspections so that they can investigate the MK virus further.
So they're technologically advanced enough to do that, but society is crumbling around them.
The very first thing that they find is that most of the virologists were found admitted to the same abandoned hospital from Keimon City. What a stroke of luck! Back in the experimental school, Shoto is now common property. The girls have now started to draw lots to become his new roommate. The winner of the lots this time is Rika Yanagi. However, Shoto is just not comfortable with frank girls like her yet and doesn't respond well to her advances. In fact, he doesn't even respond at all. He just runs away to the teacher's lounge.
So get him someone that he's comfortable with. They just need him to sleep with people to repopulate the human race. Just follow it whatever he wants.
His secret hiding location from bullies. Shunka Hiragi, another girl from the school, happens to come there as well. Turns out she too was bullied when she was in middle school, and the two find that they are similar to each other. Does seem a lot far-fetched, but Shunka uses this one common thing to seduce Shoto, and it works. They end
No way! This dude was seduced by boobs?
up sleeping together in the lounge itself. Shoto, however, still feels a bit used after all this. The girls were fighting for him, which he didn't expect, but also the fact that he was turning into a literal baby-making machine was very unsettling to him. He calls Yuzuki to get some advice, but she doesn't pick up his calls. Having everything with him, Shoto was still alone. The next day, the seductions continue. Akira, the one who Shoto him with the volleyball, locks him up in the locker room and seduces him while apologizing. Very illegal.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have found the illegal part of this episode. Murdering the males, aside from 5, attempted assassination, pedophilia. Bro, locking him in a storage room, bro? Ladies and gentlemen, we have crossed the line.
Was slowly losing himself in all of this chaos. The following class, Karen makes a new arrangement where a girl will be assigned as his servant daily. Their payment? A kiss from Shoto.
Dude, this show is unbelievable. It just sucks up so much to the fan. It's like, we are going to put these characters in the dream fantasy situation, except we're gonna also make these characters assholes.
As promised, after kissing Rika, he trips and scrapes his hand and is taken to the school nurse.
Oh no.
Even after
Let's see if he has sex with her.
getting the required medicine from the nurse, Karen still orders Ichijo, Shunka, and Akira to sleep with him at the same time.
How is that helpful at all?
Shoto had now finally fallen into the rabbit hole of pleasure, and he starts losing himself. Over the
What does your guy's script look like?
next few days, he becomes much more sexually aggressive with the girls. One day,
What?
Shion Hoshino, one of the girls who regularly ignored him when he was bullied and even enjoyed the whole bullying show while she was at it, transfers into the school.
How is she in the same class as him? She should be 5 years older than him.
She seems to be eager to mate with Shoto, but the guy ignores her like she ignored him in his
Base Shoto. Base Shoto!
time of need.
That's
Shoto
right.
is pretty pissed that she entered his heaven, but Karen explains Shion
That she entered his heaven?
tried to become an actress, but due to the MK virus, she can only get a role if she mates with Shota. She was
What? Because she wanted to be an actress, but she couldn't get the job. The only way she'll be able to get the job is if she gets pregnant?
to torment or do anything with. She was at his mercy.
You can torment and do anything you want. This is fan fiction, the anime. I am blown away that this is real.
Still angry about her ignoring him, he humiliates her by forcing her to come to a class in her underwear before he mates with her in public. He makes a few of his side chicks watch as he mates with her on the rooftop.
Oh my god, this man's a fucking psycho. Holy shit. This man became Andrew Tate.
With the uncomfortable position possible. While this was pretty brutal for an introvert like Shota, it gives him another evil idea. Shota asks Karen to find someone and bring her to him. Karen delivers Arisa in chains.
Oh my god, what the frick happened? All it takes is one bad day. This man just straight up started his Joker arc. I cannot believe it. Man went from 0 to 1,000. Oh my god, I don't even want to look at you and talk to you. I'm so embarrassed and shy. Literally the next day, bring her to me in chains.
Where a vindictive Shota forces her to lick him in the wounds that he had suffered because of her and her boyfriend. Shota was going full evil arc mode. There's no coming back from that. Every day, a new girl is now part of Shota's schedule. If he doesn't like the girls already there, new ones are brought in for him. At this point, it was almost like Shota himself was going to complete the world repopulating job. However, one of the girls among the newly transferred ones is pretty sus. To begin with, she refuses Shota's advances. Nobody does that, and at night, the girl appears to be in contact with Arisa. They are planning to abduct Shota. On the hand, Rito and his gang decide to head back
He's acting as a double agent by sticking out. Why?
into the abandoned hospital to get more clues about Arisa and the MK virus. Rito's group explores the abandoned hospital, where Sui accidentally breaks a wall to reveal an air duct. They crawl through it and fall into an underground laboratory, the place where the virus was probably created. However, before they can investigate it, they come across a group of women who strangely are intent on killing them. Fortunately for them, the women are killed in turn by the mercenaries led by
The women are killed by the mercenary. What the frick is this outfit?
Chloe, aka Miss Mansfield.
The American. The American. Blonde hair, big boobs, belts and guns, baby. That's what it's all about. The show just keeps going.
Who turns out to be one of the United Women's, or UW's, peacekeeping agents.
United Women's. Why, bro? You could still call it the world.
As Chloe saves the group from the exploding hospital, which was apparently set with a time bomb, her assistant, Miss Pope, yes, that's her name, meets the Japanese UW Council and arrests them after deducing the MK virus was created under their order. While the explosion at the hospital is settling, several other explosions occur at the locations where the men are kept. The weird girl in school also tries to abduct Shota, but fails. However, Arisa and her so-called terrorist
They just joined the KKK?
organization manages to capture one of the men, number 4. Shota, who was injured in the explosion, wakes up in the hospital where Karen explains terrorists tried and failed to kidnap him. Shota seems to have grown tired of his daily routine and asks her why she does not sleep with him. Karen tells him that she will if he wants to, but she needs to help to rule the world. What a casual thing to ask for. Shota agrees to help her. Chloe's group takes over Japan and orders Kyoji to stop mating.
Hold up. This dude wants a girl brought to him in chains and they say fine. But when this dude asks the lady in charge, she's like, nah, I'm busy.
Until the terrorists are dealt with. This certainly angers the man, but serious, what can one man do against 1 billion women?
Did he proofread this script? What could one man do against 1 billion whippin'? Find out next time on Darman Hentai.
Elisa and the terrorist organization hack the airwaves of the worldwide television channel, and they reveal her group is called Izanami, who are not terrorists, but a group of rebels against the UW. They claim all the
They really went out and turned this into a political thriller.
world leaders created the virus to wipe out men and create a world of only women,
Why?
and that Izanami aims to save the men. The UW
Wait, so the bad guys are really feminists? They really out here made a whole show, a whole ecchi show, dehumanizing women to the most extreme levels, and the villains are feminists. This is like the anti-Barbie.
leaders were working on creating humans without men, so as soon as that happens, the men will all be killed, which is why the UW needed to be stopped. They demand all the men in stasis and those who are awake to be turned over to them. After the telecast, Rito's group decides Chloe cannot be trusted and that they must escape. They rush to Rito's room to gather some stuff, but the room is already occupied by Shota, who seems to have undergone a plastic surgery,
What the fuck happened to this man?
and Karen, who is turning out to be an actual Karen. Just can't stand her at the moment. In a flashback, it is revealed that Karen performed a procedure on Shota to make him slightly older and no longer need glasses. Or, in other words, Shota got the Kardashian makeover.
Wait, so they have all this shit and society is crumbling around them?
Meanwhile, Reito meets Mira and urges her to escape with them, but she will only agree if he mates with her, which he refuses. Suddenly,
This guy is such a loser. It's wild to me.
Miss Pope arrests them. It was their plan to take Rito to Japan in the first place, saying they will be taken to America. But Ria and Maria knock her out, and they escape to Mahiru's refugee friends. Back at the UW headquarters, Shota and Karen make a deal with Chloe to allow Shota to keep mating and make Karen the ruler of Japan.
How is that a deal?
Rito's group then gets on a ship owned by Izanami that is headed to Taiwan, but Ria and Mira stay behind and are arrested. The ship lands where Rito finally reunites with Arisa.
Oh my god, this show was absolutely bonkers. This show was wild. Dude, I never in my life expected to see a show this insane. I cannot believe this became like a political shit. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you want me to do more of these covering incredibly wacky anime plots, because I just goddamn will. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.